I mean, I couldn't help myself, really, to be honest. If you're wondering why am I on this channel after all this time, well, copyright strikes for the fucking win, I guess. So I'm back over here for now. You get all your politics, that shit on here. That's it, I suppose. Or you will be in the future. Now, like I said, it's Friday. No politics. So I thought, well, let's get into this alien shite then, innit? It's hilarious. It just literally is.
Have long been fascinated by UFOs, and the public has seen the videos that our Navy pilots have taken. But do you think that we have been contacted by extraterrestrials?
Well, I have talked to those Navy pilots, and they are sure that they saw something real. And of course, we've seen their video from their jets. What is it? We don't know. So now that I'm here at NASA, I've turned to our scientists and I've said, would you, looking at it from a scientific standpoint, see if you can determine so that we can have a better idea? We don't know.
We don't know that these mad things are flying in the sky. I mean, that alone is terrifying anyway. Like, we've got no idea. That just blows my mind. It's like the shit in the sky. I mean, we literally don't know. What? Okay. Yeah, okay.
If it's extraterrestrial, we don't know. If it's an enemy, we don't know. If it's an optical phenomenon, we don't think so because of the characteristics that those Navy jet pilots described as they saw it move around.
We're all going against the wind. The wind's 120 knots from the west.
The bottom line is we want to know, and that's what we're trying to do.
What do you think it is? I mean, what's your personal take on it?
I don't have an idea. That's why I turned to our scientists.
And what have they said to you?
Well, they're looking into it. Would you like me to call you when I get an answer?
Please, because I want to know just as much as you want to know, just as much as the public wants to know.
Of course.
And you know, the Pentagon, they will soon release their report on UFOs. But when people think of mysterious things flying in the sky and aliens, they think of NASA. So what have you guys been briefed about in terms of this report? Have you been involved in any way?
I was actually briefed on this a couple of years ago in my capacity on the Senate Armed Services Committee. NASA appropriately is going to look at it through the lens of its scientists, and that's what we're doing.
But do you think the agency should be more involved at this point?
Well, we are, and I've started it. I've been here a month, and I've started it.
And are you guys working?
This is so insanely bonkers on so many levels. Like, what the fuck, man?
Working with the Pentagon then on that report?
We are not directly working with them, but I can guarantee you if we find something, the Pentagon will want to know.
Look at that thing. It's rotating.
A U.S. Navy aircraft captured images of that rotating thing back in January 2015 off the coast of Jacksonville, Florida.
Well, look on the ASA. My gosh. We're all going against the wind. The wind's 120 knots from the west. Look at that thing, dude.
Also in 2015, just a few weeks later, this happened. Watch as a Navy aircrew struggles to lock onto a mysterious, fast-moving object off the Atlantic coast.
Oh, got it! Roger, there's troubleshooting. Oh my gosh, dude. Wow, look at that, man. Look at the fly.
Former Navy fighter pilot Alex Dietrich told Anderson Cooper about spotting a
Just listen to that again. This just trips my balls. It's just like these guys fly stupidly expensive fucking aeroplanes. I'm pretty sure they think that's not an aeroplane by their like reaction. Just listen to this mad shit again. This is freaky.
As a Navy aircrew struggles to lock onto a mysterious, fast-moving object off the Atlantic coast.
Oh, got it! Woohoo! Roger, they're troubleshooting. Oh my gosh, dude. Wow, look at the fly.
Former Navy fighter pilot Alex Dietrich told Anderson Cooper about spotting a strange flying object in the sky back in November 2004 off the coast of San Diego.
Enter stage left, the Tic Tac, and that's what we affectionately refer to it as, because that's what it looked like.
It was about the size of an aircraft fuselage.
It was white, it was in sort of a matte finish, just like a Tic Tac. And it behaved in a way that we were surprised.
This lady flies aeroplanes. That's her job. She literally, I mean, like I said in my other video on the other channel, how the fuck are you gonna tell me she doesn't know the difference between a fucking bird and a fucking plane? Or swamp gas, or some other stupid, ludicrous fucking debunking skeptic bullshit? You telling me this woman's mad? Yeah, well, it's a bird. No, not a chance. Okay, let's say, well, it's human and it's a secret space program thing. That's even creepier then, isn't it, really, when you think about it? Like, what gobshite kept that technology from us for all this time then? Or who's got it? I mean, clearly, it's not China because that's stupid. It ain't the Russians because that's equally stupid. Who the fuck is it then? I mean, let's not forget the situation we find ourselves in, ladies and gentlemen. You live on a rock going around a big giant ball of plasma whizzing around in a galaxy called the Milky Way. Whizzing around somewhere quicker and quicker, apparently, according to actual science. So, does aliens really seem that fucking strange to you, considering you fucking exist? I mean, how did you get here? We don't even know that fucking bingo question, do we? So to assume that there's no aliens coming in is pretty fucking remarkable. Or very fucking arrogant. One of the two. I mean, I lean on the side of aliens just because, one, it makes fucking sense. And two, they clearly are doing some weird shit that our fucking technology can't do. She even fucking knows it. And she flies fucking planes for a living. Planes that kill other humans. The best planes at that. As far as we're aware anyway. I mean, she's a lieutenant commander, for fuck's sake. It's not like she's some bum on the street called Bob who got anal probed or some shit because he was drunk. This legit woman fucking works for the fucking Navy. I mean, she gets paid a lot of money to do her fucking job. I mean, fuck. It's creepy. There's two of these videos, but I'm just going to show you this one because this is about NASA as well. This is even more crap up crazy anyway. NASA Never Tell a Straight Answer is the acronym, by the way. In case you're not up the UFO terminology shite.
Unnerved, it accelerated, or it almost didn't accelerate, right? It sort of jumped from spot to spot and tumbled around in a way that was unpredictable.
Former Navy Commander David Fravor was on the training mission with Dietrich and remembers how the object quickly maneuvered.
Like a ping pong ball bouncing off a wall, the ability to hover over the water and then start a vertical climb from basically zero up towards about 12,000 feet and then accelerate in less than 2 seconds and disappear is something I had never seen in my life.
So what was it? The government won't say, or maybe doesn't know. For decades, the Pentagon's research into these close...
It knows. It knows whatever it is exists. Now, I'm not going to go too down the rabbit hole and be like, we've talked to aliens and men in black shit. But let's just say the government is like, we have got no fucking idea who they are. Because it's not what they are. We know what they are. We can fucking see them clearly, right? We know what they are. They're things in the sky doing weird shit. Right? We know what they are. Who owns it? Or who's in it? Is my question. Like, what's going on there? Creepy motherfucking... I mean, I think this mad report that they're going to unleash on us is going to be like, yeah, we've got no idea, but we're going to keep trying and check. It's like, oh. But we fucking knew that anyway, didn't we? I suppose. But this is the first time I've ever seen the media literally go balls deep on aliens. Just saying. I've never seen anybody go balls deep on aliens like this before. Ever. Like, you get the odd fucking story where, like, the people would laugh on the show. But now they're, like, interviewing the head of NASA going, like, what the fuck's with the aliens? And he's like, I don't know. I've only been here for a month. It's brilliant. You imagine, like, the only reason why this isn't a main story yet, and it will be soon, because of COVID. That magic fucking virus that everyone fucking is trying to escape from. So when that dies down, and it will do soon, because everyone's getting vaccinated and shit, this is going to be the #1 story. I'm guessing. There's nothing else on the horizon that I find important, apart from climate change, but that's waffle anyway. So, a Newsline headline grabber will be clearly fucking aliens. And all the clicks, if you look at all the clicks on all these videos, they're like, the ratio's insane compared to likes versus dislikes. That just shows you it's even a money making thing for these, not that they need money, I suppose, because they're all rich anyway, but advertisement wise, boss.
Has been kept under wraps, along with the images and a now defunct $22 million program designed to investigate UFOs. So what are we to believe about moments like this?
Whoa, it's getting close. Whoa, splashed.
Members of the U.S. Navy captured that footage of an unidentified flying object spotted off the coast of California in July 2019, just before it vanished into the ocean. And with so few answers,
well, at least you know where they live, clearly. You know, we've mapped the surface of the moon more than we have the actual ocean. That's bonkers, isn't it, when you think about it? Mind you, the moon is actually there, we can see the fucking thing pretty hard. The ocean, unless you got radar or some shit, I don't know, whatever that thing is that maps the ocean. But there's still loads of it we haven't seen, like, with our eyeballs, if you know what I mean. We can only, like, map the terrain. The pressure is enormous when you go underwater, so I'm guessing that's probably a harder thing to do anyway. But yeah, I mean, if they're flying and then they're going in the water, I'm pretty sure they're not going to get a drink or something of that nature. I'm pretty sure they fucking probably have like a base. Or someone's got a base. Like I said, mightn't even be aliens, might just be some creepy bunch of humans with some whiz-bang technology, which is equally creepy, if you ask me anyway. I don't know.
Extraterrestrials have become a favorite subject for conspiracy theorists, with much of the focus on a highly classified U.S. Air Force testing facility in Nevada, known as Area 51. Bob Lazar is the conspiracy theorist and former physicist.
I love the way they say conspiracy theorists, though. It makes everyone sound like they've got tinfoil hats. You know, you can be you can, like, if I threw you a surprise birthday party, right, and your mate was like, who did it? You would technically be a conspiracy theorist at that point. Like, the way conspiracy is to conspire, theory is how did you do it? So, it sounds weird, but if you put them both together, people are like, to fuck, tinfoil hat, when actually, it's a bad representation of English. It's kind of creepy when you think about it. But then, propaganda is always based on manipulation of language or words or images, depending. Mixture of both, actually, sometimes.
Who says he worked at the secretive government research site, Area 51. He says he was hired to reverse engineer a flying saucer buried there.
This came from somewhere else. I mean, as bizarre as that is to believe, but I mean, it's there. I saw it.
Others have bought into his claims that the U.S. government buried extraterrestrial technology at Area 51.
It looks like sand. It's made to look like the side of the mountain that it's in, whether it's to disguise it from satellite photographs.
So until someone says for sure what's really out there,
no sound, no blinking lights, just this big illuminated form,
we'll be left still to wonder. Randy Kay, CNN, Miami.
And joining me now is former Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid. While in office,
this is the guy who set up the fucking task force, because he's from Arizona, or he still is technically speaking. But he was the senator from there, right? And what's in his patch? Area 51. You can't make this shit up. It's literally loopy. Like, I can't believe I'm actually covering fucking aliens of all the topics in the world. Fucking aliens. Like I said, on my other channel, I thought the tax thing was bad enough. Like, that's gangster as shit anyway. But this is throwing me through a fucking loop. Like, fuck it now. This is bonkers, bro. Or broette, if you're a woman. It's just mad, innit? It literally is mad. And this isn't even the worst bit. There's another. I've got an interview here with this dude, which goes even more bonkers. Oh my god, wow. And these are all new videos, by the way. This was published June 6th, which I didn't spot. I was just perusing and just found these 2 videos, and I was like, fuck, it's Friday, it's not politics, lad. Plus, I got a copyright strike on Styrzor's channel, so can't even use that until September the 6th, 9th even, which I appealed. So, good luck with that shit, I suppose. At least there's only 1 strike. I think if you get 3, they delete your channel. So I'm pretty sure I'm not going to be streaming fucking Question Time again. Fuck that show. Because that's the only one I ever get copyright strikes for. Fucking Question Time. Politics Live's fine, apparently. Question Time, no. Not allowed to show Question Time, even though I pay for both of them my fucking tax. Waffle, rant, waffle.
The money for a now defunct Pentagon program investigating UFOs. He's also been one of the loudest voices calling for the government to release this information about these close encounters in the sky, or whatever these things are in the sky. So, Senator, let me ask you this. This report apparently says there's no evidence that these objects were alien spacecraft, but they're not ruling it out either. Were you hoping for more from this report? I know I was.
Well, I really had a preliminary run of what they were going to come up with, and it wasn't going to be much. And it isn't much. My take on this is that they should continue the research on this. It shouldn't be a one and done. I believe that one of the things I did that I'm glad I did, I made a decision because of my curiosity that I thought we should find out what, if anything, there was to these UFOs. And that's when I went to Stevens from Alaska and in away from Hawaii, and said, I told him what I wanted to do. I wanted to spend some money to corroborate what they were trying to find out. And Stevens.
And nobody knew this old dude was like, yeah, I want to investigate aliens. And they were like, you sure about that, dude? And he's like, yeah. And they're like, oh, this is going to get weird. And I was like, yeah, but it's only a bit of fun, innit? It's probably not aliens. Probably the Chinese or the Russians. No.
Said immediately, he said, good, I want to do this. He said, there was a pilot in World War II, and there was something was in the air off to my left. I would go up, down, around, got low on fuel, came back down, landed. I asked air traffic what that was. He said, we didn't see anything. So.
He was speaking to another senator, right? And he spoke to him and he said, I seen these weird fucking things in World War II. Now, you know where that comes from, right? If you know anything about UFOs, they were called Foo Fighters. No, not the band, even though the band Foo Fighters are awesome. By the way, funny joke. Oh, it is actually funny. Apparently, everyone's throwing the CDs in the bin of the Foo Fighters because they're saying, if you don't get vaccinated, you can't come to watch us at, like, concerts. I don't know, it's a bit strange. I thought I'd just throw that in. I like the Foo Fighters. Couldn't give a fuck. If you don't want to get vaccinated, don't get vaccinated. But just, you know, it's your opinion. That's theirs. It's their fucking band, innit? Anyway, let's go back to UFOs because it's even more funny.
We got from the taxpayers. We found that I thought maybe there'd be a few dozen people saying they saw things like this, but we learned that there were hundreds and hundreds of them. And so even though my staff said stay the hell away from this, I was something I was bound and determined to do.
Yo, his staff like, don't do this, Harry, bitch. Don't do it, Harry. You're gonna get fucked in the ass by an alien. You're gonna get probed, boyo. I don't give a fuck, I'm a senator. Fuck with me, bitch. I pay your wages. I'm gonna look after it. I'm gonna look into aliens. It's so crazy. I love it though, because it's so fucking crazy.
He said it would hurt me, my re-elections. Didn't hurt me that much. I got re-elected. So I think it's a good thing for the country. It's a good thing for the world. And the American people can accept the truth. Whatever is the truth. We need to be transparent in everything we're doing. And
we know the truth. I mean, anyone with half a fucking brain knows how fucking insane the universe is. I mean, to literally assume, for some oddball reason, that we're the only arse clowns in the universe is dumb as fuck. More so when you look at the history of mankind. I mean, anybody who went to fucking school knows there's an anomaly somewhere. And we're it at this point. You're either religious and you go with that side of the equation, or you ain't. That's called science, right? Even religious people accept science, right? So if you accept science, like gravity exists, right, and shit, and you can jump up and down, then the very same laws of physics would deem it necessary that aliens exist. Or you wouldn't exist at this point, would you? No. Because it would just be magical fucking J.R.R. Tolkien fairy dust. And we don't live in J.R.R. Tolkien's fucking Lord of the Rings universe now, do we? The Silmarillion, or whatever the fuck it's called. It's just a horrible word, but it's a great story. So, we know they're fucking aliens at this point. Just tell people, yeah, there's fucking aliens. We don't know who they are, what they fucking want. They clearly don't give a fuck about us. They haven't blew us up, thank God, yet. Maybe. Maybe they are gonna kill us. I don't fucking know. Point being is, playable. You get what I'm saying? But the one thing I will say is that we accept it as just a thing. So just accept as fucking creepy creatures that are way fucking smarter than we are. I mean, my cat thinks I'm a fucking alien, clearly. It still likes getting fed though.
Government, let the American people know what we're doing scientifically and otherwise.
And Senator, I have to ask you, because I know the folks at home will want me to ask this question. Do you believe that these UFOs are alien spacecraft? And is the government trying to cover it up? You were the Senate Majority Leader, Senator, for a long time here in Washington. What can you tell us about both of those questions? Do you think they exist, and is the government covering this up? I do not know what they are. Yeah, I don't know what they are. No one does, to my knowledge, at this time. But that's why I say this task force that's going to report later this month should continue. We're not going to solve all.
Exactly, they're asking the wrong questions. We know what they are. Fucking mad vehicles of some kind. From somewhere. Well, I don't even know where is the appropriate way to use in this mad fucking equation. Well, let's just say I'm the biggest skeptic in the world, and it's just birds. That's stupid. Clearly, that is no bird. That's the stupidest looking bird ever, to be fair. And why would the Navy want to look at a bird? I mean, haven't they got better things to do? Like, I don't know, defend the country or something. You know, we pay them a lot of money to do that job, right? We all accept that humans are pretty stupid and we spend lots of money killing each other. Hence our armaments. So, that's weird. Second of all is, that's still the wrong question. Who is occupying these things? I mean, they could be remote controlled, could be drones. But even if they're drones, right? They're pretty fucking big ass drones, right? I mean, I know, I'm not allowed to say this, but I'm gonna say it anyway. I know BAE Systems have a lot of creepy tech, right? I can't go into detail, but they do. Not as sophisticated as shit though. Not even close. Not even remotely close. I mean, okay. The SR-71 Blackbird, that shit was made, I think it was around about the 50s, give or take, something like that. And that shit was like, it still is my favourite plane of all planes, to be fair. The CIA used to use it to spy on the Russians. And everybody else, to be quite frank. You couldn't shoot the fucking thing down, put it that way. And it was fast. Now, a lot of people say, well, they've got a better vision. Probably do. But it doesn't look like a fucking Tic Tac now, does it? Do you know what I mean?
The questions we have in a few weeks, we need to continue working on it. This is something that is interesting. It's important to the country, and it could be important to the world.
And in that report, Randy Kay referenced Area 51, which you actually got to visit when you were in office. What can you tell us about what you saw there? These questions about whether...
Look at that picture that the pilot took. Like, look at that. Does that look to you like a bird? I mean, honestly. Does that look like a plane? Even a drone? That's the weirdest looking fucking thing ever. I'm glad they're showing the actual high quality versions, because you keep showing the blurry ones on TV. I'm like, but I've seen the actual high res versions where they actually look fucking like that. It looks like a cloud of mad shit. It doesn't even look, I don't even know what the fuck that is. So if you come across that whizzing around in the sky, I'd probably just call that a UFO too, because I've got no fucking idea what that is, right? UFO only means unidentified flying object. Now, it could be a plastic bag. Doubt it. It looks like a plastic bag, but I doubt it. I mean, it looks pretty big for a plastic bag. And second of all, why the fuck would a pilot want to take a picture of a flying plastic bag? Or whatever the fuck that looks like. I'm just trying to run through scenarios in my mind where that's not strange, when it clearly fucking is, isn't it? I mean, I cover a lot of subjects in my streams on my other channel. This one is literally boggling one's mind. I can do propaganda all day long. I've read the books. I know the spiel of humans. That thing is a bit weird. In fact, no, it's very fucking weird. It's weird that it's happening. Like, the news, the mainstream media is literally going, oh yeah, aliens, normal. And the world hasn't lost its shit. It's like, now, too busy worrying about COVID and all the fucking crap. Aliens, not to see ya, no one's asked. That's the hilarious bit for me. Like, no one's even given a fuck that this is an actual thing. Like, mainstream media's covering aliens. When was the last time you seen them do that shit, other than, like, I don't know, 2-minute take the piss report or something? They've got senators, the head of NASA, the guy who used to run the fucking program. That guy funded this guy. His money, oh shit, wrong one. His money, this guy here, Senator Harry Reid, give this guy fuck tons of money. It's not a joke. We can actually go, okay, you give him money to investigate this, and what? I love it. Bonkers. Bonkers. Where's me fucking mushroom soup? The hallucinogenic kind. I feel like I'm tripping my balls off.
The things are buried there. What did you see?
Let me tell you that. Here's my most graphic memory. There was a family by the name of Sheehan. They had a ranch, not a ranch, an old mining. It was kind of a place they would go on weekends and have picnics and barbecues. So one weekend they go up there and there's military police. Their property's barred off. And so what's this about? Well, the reason they did that is from that property of theirs, they could look down on Area 51. And
I'm guessing this old geezer's gonna just literally say mad shit in terms of, like, I reckon he knows more than he's saying, to be fair. He knows way more than he's clicking on, I reckon. I'm just saying. But he's so old and senile at this point. I wouldn't call him senile, that's no. He's old, innit? I mean, why is he asked? It's not like, if someone threatened him, you're gonna die, he's like, been here for ages, mate, not that bothered. So he's probably gonna spill the beans at some point. Maybe. Or someone will. I mean, look at Edward Snowden. I mean, everybody knew the government was spying on us left, right, and centre, and then Edward Snowden was like, here's the evidence, and everyone was like, oh my god, the fucking government's spying on us. And it's like, well, most of us fucking knew that with half a brain. It's only the fucking other idiots who were like shocked. Fuck's sake. And this reminds me of like a very weird Edward Snowden moment where like they're going, yeah, no, they are literally real, and everyone's just like, well, everyone who thinks UFOs are real in terms of like the universe are like, that wouldn't be a surprise really, to be quite frank. But all the normal, I wouldn't say normal, all the people who don't give a shit, they'll be like, oh, wow, aliens. It's like, you live on a rock. You see that big thing in the sky called the sun? You fly around that. Once upon a time, humans used to think it flew around us. Just let that sink in. Humans used to think the world was flat, literally. And also, that we were the center of the universe. Also, the sun went around the fucking earth. Humans used to think that as everyday knowledge that was clearly incorrect. Pointing out the fucking obvious here. So aliens, yep, it's your new paradigm shift, I'm guessing. Because at the end of the day this shit ain't going away anytime soon. In fact, I'm probably guessing it's going to get worse. Because there's going to be more leaks. That's for sure.
That was the end of their weekend trips to their property. So I know Area 51. I've been there quite a few times. Saw some really interesting things. Much of it is still classified, but I remember looking at a Soviet helicopter that had been come from someplace that we got.
Hang on a minute. You went to Area 51 and seen a Soviet helicopter. But did you just buy one from the Russians? Can we buy one of your helicopters, please? He didn't even say, did he? He was like, from somewhere. What do you mean, Russia? Didn't they make it? I mean, the levels of fucking wow is just up there, off the chart. He literally just said they had a Russian helicopter at Area 51. How the fuck do you not acquire your enemy's shit unless it crashes? It doesn't sound like it crashed to me. You know, it's fucking crazy. I love it. Yay for craziness. I'm just saying, this isn't as loopy as the interview that you're going to watch next. This is interesting, yeah, and still mind-boggling. But the other dude is also interesting. That was his boss. Well, I wouldn't say his boss, but he gave him the money. You'll just watch anyway.
They also had a stealth helicopter they were working on at the time, was classified. So a lot of things went on at Area 51. It was just a short distance from there that we had the stealth fighter plane. There was people learned to fly, our airmen learned to fly there because the Soviet satellites would come over during the daytime, and of course they could see everything down there. So we did it at nighttime, so the Soviets couldn't see what we learned, what we were doing. And what they were doing is learning to fly these new airplanes. They did it all at night. Everything they did in pitch darkness. So it was very interesting. The Area 51 is important to the security of this country. It still is, and it has been for many decades.
Americans have long...
They denied Area 51 even existed. You could literally see it on the map. People, nah, it's not there. It's not real. But we can see it. It's right there, man. Nah, not real. Fuck off. It's not real. Pretty sure it's real. Anyway, let's get to this mad interview. I have to skip the beginning because it fucks up a little bit. Not beginning, just the interview. The sound fucks up at the very start. But you can watch the intro though, I suppose. And this is from the Washington Post, as you can clearly see. So I'm not copying people's videos or whatever. I'm just trying to commentariat over them. No, the mad thing is, like, they were saying, oh, we don't investigate UFOs. Pretty sure $22 million means that you fucking do. $22 million. 22 million. No such thing as UFOs. Pretty sure you just spent a lot of fucking money trying to figure out what they fucking are. Or whatever the reports were about them. I mean, if you're telling me that UFOs ain't real, then why would you spend 22 million fucking bucks?
Well, if there's a lunar thing, it's rotating.
Wherever these technologies come from, they are clearly far more advanced than any earthly technology. Now, I would think, even as a drunk person, you could read that and come to one conclusion. It's not earthly then, is it? Like, just, that's the first bit. I mean, what? I'm just lost for words at this point, really, just thinking, like, what is going on? Like, I mean, the world's a strange place, like I said before, but this is an upper level, isn't it? It's like fucking Avengers Endgame or some shit. Okay, it's not War of the Worlds at this point, but fuck my life. It's a very strange thing. Very strange indeed. This is not me. She forgot to unmute herself, apparently. Not me. It's not me. She's literally talking to the camera with a microphone off, apparently. She's like, oh.
Out UFOs, or as it's officially called, unidentified aerial phenomenon, UAPs. While we're waiting for the unclassified report from Congress on the matter, our guest, Lou Elizondo, the former director for AATIP, the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program, has some answers. So excited to welcome you today, Lou. Thanks for joining us.
Jackie, it is my sincere pleasure to be with you and your audience today. Thank you very much for having me.
So I want to take us back for a second and set the table for this conversation. How exactly did you get assigned in the first place to investigate UFOs for the intelligence community?
Apart from the UFOs, I love it. Drinks cabinet table. God, there's so much lovely booze on that thing. Give me the booze. Give me all that drink, motherfucker. She definitely gets shit-faced all the time. Mind you, you'd have to work with the Washington Post.
Well, Jackie, quite frankly, I was voluntold. In essence, I had some prerequisite experience that they were looking for. At the time, the organization was fairly new, and they were looking for someone to create a counterintelligence and security portfolio. And I guess because of some of my background running investigations, counterintelligence investigations, and some of my background in technology protection, specifically with aerospace systems, that probably, I suspect, was a fairly lucrative skill set that they were looking for to create this sub portfolio under ATIP, and that's how I got into the program. I entered the program in 2008. I was asked by its director to come on board and establish this program, and then in 2010 is when I was asked to take over the effort.
And I'm sure many of you are well aware of this. If you are tuning in, you've probably watched the documentary that came out this year, The Phenomenon. Senator Harry Reid, which this doc outlines got the program funded. Did you brief him in Congress on these unexplained pilot sightings when you were running the program?
Jackie, we provide many briefings, mostly through DoD and intelligence community leadership. That information was also provided to staffers and, of course, our elected officials. It's very important that when you're working in a national security construct that you try to follow the chain of command as much as possible. So a lot of my briefings were really to more senior level folks in the Department of Defense and within our intelligence architecture. But there were times, yes, that we would be asked to brief other officials, particularly in the legislative branch and in the executive branch as well.
And right now, everyone in Washington and really a lot of people around this country are hotly anticipating this unclassified government report on aerial phenomenon witnessed by Navy pilots. It's expected to be delivered to the Senate intelligence community by the Director of National Intelligence, hopefully by June 25th. The New York Times reported that senior administration officials who were briefed on the findings said that the unusual movements witnessed by pilots did not originate from American military or advanced U.S. government technology. But that's really about the only conclusive finding that has been so far teased from the report. What do you think the likelihood is that aerial phenomena are actually extraterrestrial spacecraft?
Well, Jackie, that's really the question, isn't it? The bottom line is up until very recently, there were really only three possibilities of what this could be. And the first possibility is that it is some sort of secret U.S. tech that somehow we have managed to keep secret even from ourselves for a long period of time.
Which is creepy, right? Illuminati ringing about. Well, no, fuck the Illuminati. You get the point. Yeah, that's creepy. So that's point one. I would agree with that. That's creepy. That's a logical conclusion to come to if you was inclined to dabble, right? What's the other two then?
The second option is that it's some sort of foreign adversarial technology that has somehow managed to technologically leapfrog ahead of our country, despite having a fairly robust and comprehensive intelligence apparatus.
In other words, it's someone else's shit. Now, the last time I checked, if humans get a technological advance over another bunch of humans, what do they tend to do next? Oh yeah, invade some poor bastard. Or go to war. To just swing their cock around, clearly. And say, well, now you're my bitch. Just saying. Read that in every history book if you ever fucking want to choose to read it. But yeah, okay. Maybe some of the fucking Russians got it, Chinese, I don't fucking know, right? But somebody else has got some whiz-bang mad shit. Okay, what's number three?
And of course, the third option is something quite entirely different. It's a different paradigm completely. Now, as of this week, we now know through some of the discussions at senior level leadership that this report has definitively stated once and for all that it's not our technology.
So literally, he's just come out and just said off the bat, the report that we're expecting in like is it this month or next month? I don't fucking know. It's supposed to be like, anywho, doesn't matter. He knows, or someone's told him, that this report has literally said it ain't ours. Now, I don't know if he means it ain't the USA's technology, or if he means it ain't fucking human technology. Maybe, I don't know. Let's see what he says. Maybe he's codified, because I clearly paused him. So,
And that's hugely important. For 30 years, there has always been this undercurrent, if you will, these conspiracies that there was some sort of TR-3B program and some sort of super special technology that has been implemented, and we've been just been very careless about it. And I think that argument was finally put to bed this week. So that really only leaves two other options. And that's, again, it's foreign adversarial, or it's something quite different. And I think
I love the fact he's saying quite different. Now, like I said, if you've ever studied propaganda or linguistics of any capacity, Very different is a code word for fucking aliens. Like, literally. He's saying, he won't say aliens. He said that word is, well, 2 words. Very different. Do you understand how he's speaking? He's being very careful on how he speaks. Very careful. This is interesting.
We're now beginning to learn, as we've heard from the Director of National Intelligence, and I can certainly tell you from my experience, that we're pretty confident that it's not Russian or Chinese technology. And there's several reasons.
So whose the fuck is it then? Duh! Whose is it if it isn't the Russians or the Chinese? I mean, Russia put a man in space before anybody else, right? Yuri Gagarin. Facts. First satellite in space, Sputnik. I'm pretty sure if the Russians had that shit, they would show it off. Especially with Putin in charge, because you'd be like, have you seen how big my balls are? Like, you would show that shit off, right? For real. Or don't. Which means that it's some kind of like espionage shit. Now, espionage shit is weird because why would you want to espionage in broad fucking daylight? Right next to a fucking gigantic ship that the United States owns. That's literally made for intelligence. It's got all the bells and whistles on it. Much like the British ships. Why would you put your ship next to it? Unless you're going, you're so stupid, look at our shit. Now, you'd be terrified if you was in the Defense Department of that ship, right? If you said, no, it's Russian, you'd be shitting your pants. Why would you need nuclear weapons at that point if these things can fly as fast as some of these reports are going? And do weird shit. Why would you need nukes? Your nukes become irrelevant at this point. It gets very crazy very quickly.
For that if you like, I'm more than happy to go into.
Yeah, actually, could you go into that? I know you've explained it in previous interviews, but these sightings have happened for the past 70 years. And I know you've said before that you didn't think it was possible for one of our foreign adversaries who have been helpful actually in providing information on this issue would be capable of keeping something a secret for so long. Is that?
Our adversaries have been helpful? Yeah, because this isn't about... If you know anything about UFOs, they're everywhere on the planet. You get people in Russia, China, fucking everywhere basically going, yeah, I seen something fucking weird in the sky. Now, yeah, fair enough. Let's say 99% of what people see is just bollocks. Like, you wasn't probed by an alien, it was Bob from down the street and you both took too many mushrooms or whatever. Fine, right? Let's go with that scenario. That 1% that's still remaining, just saying, even if it's 1% or 0.0001%, that 1 is critical. Because it literally points out that, yeah, something weird's going on, ladies and gentlemen. Something very weird is going on. Well, it's not even weird. It's a fact, innit, at that point. We're not alone in the universe. And to be fair, right, if you ask most humans on the planet, do you think we're alone in the universe because they actually have a brain? They go, nah, that's mad. We can't be. It's too big. It's not even big. It's infinite, which blows anybody's mind. I mean, have you seen them watch videos of how big's the universe? And people lose their shit. I mean, you're made from atoms, you can't even fucking see them. You accept that there's atoms though, don't you? You can't see the fucking wind, but you accept there's fucking wind. Can't see it. Till it blows you over. Some weird shit. Anyway, get the point.
Accurate?
That's precisely one of the counter arguments. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, as of today, we had an announcement by former Director of National Intelligence, Ratcliffe, who said this isn't Russian technology. And as we know, during Glasnost and the fall of the Berlin Wall, there was this 5-year romance period, if you will, between the United States and Russia, where we began really sharing a lot of information. And a lot of their, ironically enough, a lot of their UFO information wound up in our hands. And it turns out that they were experiencing the exact same issues from a UFO or a UAP issue perspective that we were. So if you look at really the timelines here, it's looking increasingly less likely that this is some sort of Russian technology. So that really leaves China. And some of these reports, you're absolutely correct, Jackie, they go back into the early 1950s and even earlier. And so what that says is that you have pilots, whether we're describing what we call a white flying Tic Tac or a white flying butane tank in the 1950s or a white flying lozenge, if you will, they're all describing the exact same vehicle, craft, if you will, doing exactly the same thing, performing in ways well beyond our current capabilities. And if you look at that from a temporal perspective, from a time perspective, it simply doesn't make sense that China back in 1950 would have this beyond next generation technology, mastered it, is able to fly it at will anywhere it wants on the face of the planet. And the last 70 years, despite the billions of dollars we put into our intelligence community infrastructure and architecture, it has managed to evade us. In fact, China is a country that has stolen quite a bit, spends a lot of time stealing technology from us. And so one has to ask the question that if really a country had this technology, would it be necessary to steal much more basic technology from another country? Furthermore, if you had this type of technology, you probably wouldn't need to invest so much in military, because you had this, if you will, checkmate type technology.
Exactly. Makes no sense. Checkmate? Why would you need nukes? If I can fly from A to B faster than you can blink. That's some weird shit. Your ass is toast. And that's the scary bit, because when or if they accept that this is maybe a reality, I'm saying maybe because clearly I don't fucking know, do I? But let's just say it is. What are we gonna do? In fact, what can we do? Shoot them? Good luck with that shit. That's like throwing, that's literally like throwing pebbles at a tank. Are you gonna blow up a tank with a pebble? Okay, you know what reminds me of World War One? Actually, when the Brits invented the tank. There's literally footage from World War One of Germans running away from a British tank. The first ever deployed tank. It's fucking creepy. The Germans literally ran away. They were like, fuck that shit. Metal box with guns attached with wheels. You're fucked at that point. And not that I am a German, but let's say I was one in World War One, I would run the fuck away too. But these things don't even care, apparently. They're just like, not asked. Clearly not asked. They're doing some shit. Maybe it's just a base. I don't know. But they're clearly not asked about us. Fucking morons. Would they do something about it? I mean, like I said, maybe it's just not fucking bothered. So creepy though, isn't it?
Capability where everything else now becomes obsolete. And so this goes to your last part of your question. Do I feel or do I believe this is, quote, extraterrestrial? Let me be very careful before I answer that by saying, at the end of the day, Jackie, it doesn't matter what I think or what I believe. What matters is what the data and the facts tell us. And from that perspective, it's very important that I had a very simple job, and that is to collect the truth and speak the truth. That's it. Very much as an investigator, which I used to be, we applied the same type level of rigor and methodologies we did in hunting terrorists and spies as we did in hunting UFOs. So we really didn't care what these were. We were just trying to get to the bottom of what they were. And so therein lies, if you will, a little bit of our approach. We were very agnostic, if you will, or objective about this topic, and tried to allow the facts to lead us down a certain path. And that is really what we're doing today. What we're realizing is that the facts are painting a far more compelling picture than what we thought. In this case, your audience, they're the jury. So what matters is really what you think about this. And so the hope here is that the U.S. government can provide the data and the evidence and the information.
UFOs are real, and they're aliens. Now go about your daily job, because clearly they're not invading us. They're not that bothered. I mean, this is the most surreal thing ever. Like, the human race is literally not bothered. Not asked. The biggest discovery since, I don't fucking know, Copernicus or some stupid shit. And humans are just like, yeah, I'm just gonna go on TikTok and shake my ass to some weird music or some fucking shit. I'll make an OnlyFans. No one cares. Nobody. Apart from me, because I just find it fucking interesting. But like, no one else is even bothered that there's literally fucking aliens. And no one's asked. Mind blown. Oh well.
Allow the American people to decide what we think this is about. I think, if I may just digress for a moment here, you mentioned something very interesting that a lot of people want to talk about and say, is this extraterrestrial? And I want to just, if I can, for just briefly delve into where we are with modern day science. We are human beings that a lot of now people in psychology refer to as cardiosocial animals. Means we look at things in extremes, because for the first 9 months of our existence, we were in our mother's womb and we heard that binary heartbeat of our mother. And so we tend to look at the life, if you will, and our universe in that binary way. It's either good or it's bad, it's hot or cold, black or white, up and down. And that's how we tend to judge things. But in reality, the universe and physics isn't binary. It's not binary at all. In fact, there's all sorts of options and opportunities of what this could be. So again, back to your question, is it from here or is it from out there? We don't really know. In fact, there's lots.
We are out there. This is the weirdest thing ever to suggest. Like, is it from out there? Where do you think we fucking are? Where are we? Again, if you don't mind refreshing my fucking memory from when, like, I was a child and went, oh, we live on a planet. We're out there. The universe is already full of life, even if there's only us. That alone should prove to you that physics that we understand clearly doesn't equate for fucking life. How does a rock, literally, let this sink into your fucking mind at this point. How does an inanimate object, a cup, yeah, I'm going to use my cup for an analogy because it's sitting right there in front of me. How does a cup make a human? In fact, how does a cup make anything that can reproduce itself? Does a cup go around reproducing cups? That sounds absurd. You're living in a fucking cup. The cup made its... A cup made a cup that's it didn't even make a cup. It made something that it's aware that it was a cup or is a cup. Don't people understand how fucking freaky this shit is at this point? The universe is like a rock. It has no properties in regards to visually that would suggest... No wonder people believe in God, because it is fucking strange, to be quite frank. So, the universe is a cup, or a rock, I should say, not a fucking cup. A rock, which is the same as a cup. But somehow, over fuck knows how long, infinity time, God, it made a thing that's like, oh, yeah, I know me. It's like the universe made itself in its own image, in us. And I'll tell you another strange thing. The only two things in the entire universe that do the exact same thing, like twins, one's your mind and the other one's the expansion of the universe. You think I'm lying? Look at human history. The smarter we got, the bigger it gets. Pointing out the obvious.
Lots of other options on the table. It could be from, as I've said before, it can be from outer space, inner space, or the space in between. As we begin to learn what quantum physics is, and we begin to understand our place here on this little planet, we begin to realize that there's a lot.
Spooky action at a distance, ladies and gentlemen. Einstein said that's bullshit, by the way. It's not just think it's... Well, in fact, that phrase, spooky action at a distance, was coined by Einstein. He's like, there's no way an atom over there knows what the other atom is doing all the way over there. We know that's actually true. Spooky action. So, whatever. I'm not going to go and give you a lecture on science. It's aliens.
Lot of other options. We judge the universe in 5 fundamental senses, the ways that we perceive the universe, and that's if touch, taste, hear, smell, etc. And if you can't use those senses to look at something or measure it, then we really can't interact with it. And yet we know the majority of the universe around us, 99% of it, in fact, is not perceivable. There are right now Wi-Fi signals coursing through your body. There's cosmic radiation coming in from the cosmos. There's neutrinos coming in from the sun. There's radar hitting you from the local airport. And yet these are all realities, and you can't interact with it because we just don't have the tools to do so. Take a beautiful night sky, look at the stars, and you might say, wow, that's really...
He makes a good point. The sky is not blue. The sky isn't blue. It is to us. Because we've got receptors in the back of our eyeballs that see chemicals that make it blue. Basic science shit. I love it though, because that's what I'm saying. The whole alien thing is mad. If you do it even from a basic skeptic's point. You're gonna... I think skeptics, most of them are Christians. Or you would have to be literally religious to think this is not an interesting subject in terms of possibilities. Now, I watch a lot of science shit, and even like Neil deGrasse Tyson, he's like, he just bats it away. It's like, yeah, it's not real kind of thing. And I'm just like, you're supposed to be a scientist. Isn't science a tool for humans to learn? Because the difference between science and religion is dogmatic in its approach. Do as I say, etc. Like, it's wrote down, these are the rules, shut up. Go get burnt at the stake, or whatever, or put it on cross. Where science is supposed to be, oh, hey, here's some new evidence, we can change our mind, it's good. Right? It's good to be wrong in science. It means that we're progressing, it's forward momentum. Whereas the Bible was wrote 1 billion years ago by some tosspot with a pen, or whatever. Nobody fucking cares anymore. Why? Because the situation changes and it makes no sense. To be quite fucking frank. So, I mean, it's mad that scientists would be like, this is a stupid thing to talk about. No, it isn't. You live in a fucking universe with no edge. Tell me any scientist who's going to correct me on that scenario. Any? Where's the middle of the universe? We don't know. Why is that? Because every galaxy is going fucking in their own direction, and you can't find the middle. Like, literally, that's not a joke. There is no middle of this mad fucking thing we're in, and there is no edge. There's only an edge of visible light or radiation or whatever the fuck it is. That's all we can see. We don't know what this is that we're in. And then you're going to tell me aliens is a strange talking point? No. Your existence is even fucking stranger than fucking aliens at this point. Because we don't even know how the fuck we got here. So aliens? Yin and yang, maybe.
Pretty sky. But if you now take a radio telescope and look at that same spot in the sky, all of a sudden you begin to see things that you couldn't see before. You see in the ultraviolet, you see in the infrared spectrum, you see nebula. So I guess my long-winded point to all this is that we must keep all options open. If we already know that 99% of the universe we cannot perceive or interact with, then there may be other options here. This may not necessarily be something from outer space. In fact, this could be something as natural to our very own planet as us. We're just now at a point where we're beginning to technologically be able to interact and collect data.
I make that point in my other video. What if they were always here? Like, ants have always been ants. Do you give a fuck about an ant, to be fair? No. when I'm going to the shop to clearly get drunk, not get drunk, but yeah. When I go to the shop, I don't go and ask a fucking ant's permission to do my shit. Maybe these things have been here way before us, and it's their home, and they just ignore the fuck out of us because, well, we're a bunch of fucking ants. Peons. Less than peons. Bacteria. I don't fucking know. But that would still make sense. That would be a logical conclusion. Wouldn't it? Maybe? Creepy? Would be logical. I mean, you don't know with this topic. It's so batshit crazy at this point, in my opinion. I mean, like, I'm not trying to be biased, but I'm also trying to be objective myself. Like, I've got no fucking idea what's going on. I'm fascinated that it's in the fucking news, to be honest. I'm fascinated with that because I cover politics and the news, so it's interesting from that standpoint. But in terms of what it is, I am fucking clueless, like the rest of y'all. Clueless. It's still fascinating though. It's fascinating because I want to see how it affects politics in general.
Something from under the oceans. This could be something from outer space. We really don't know, and this is why I think we really need to take a whole of government approach and look at this, because it is day by day. It's seeming like more and more this conversation is shifting from a human technology, quite possibly, we don't know for sure yet, but to something far more profound.
But as someone who is more steeped and in the know on the data and the facts, do you have any more narrow idea in that 99% of things that we are unaware of what this could be exactly?
You know, through observations, we are quite convinced that we're dealing with a technology that is multi-generational, several generations ahead of what we consider next generation technology. So what we would consider beyond next generation technologies.
Generation is a human lifespan. Remember that. And he said several, which means 3. Give or take. In English it means 3, several. So he's saying this probably is what, 200 plus years ahead of its time, give or take. I mean, let's think about that in our terms today. The internet is not that old in the grand scheme of things, is it? I mean, look at what we've achieved in the past 30 years. I mean, I still remember using the internet with a 5.6 kilobit per second fucking modem. You know that strange noise, right? That modems used to do the whole dial-up shit. And it used to cost like 25p a minute to use the internet. That is not a joke. 25 pence per minute. And that was cheap. Do you understand this? So if they're like 200 odd years ahead of us, that's pretty fucking dope. I'm thinking like, what would humans be like? Because I do graphics and stuff, it's like a little waffle, but I do graphics, right? I love doing 3D stuff on my computer. That's what I do. Now I remember using, when I was what, 19 or some shit, 19, 20, I think it was 19. I remember using like 3ds Max version 3. That's when I first started using 3D modeling software. I remember Rhino, which was garbage. Vista Pro, which is fucking awesome. Not that I used to put music to that shit. But I remember like all the old tech. I remember, in fact, I just threw one in the bin because I was moving rooms. I had an SV Verge. I'm pretty sure people don't remember that shit, but a fucking very old graphics card. It had like a whopping like 4 gigabytes of memory on it. No jokes. It's in fact probably not 4. It was shite anyway. But the point is, the leap in tech, just in my industry, has been fucking amazing. Go and check Unreal 5 out, the videos for that shit. Fucking awesome, right? The stuff that they do, that we can do today with tech. And then go, what, 20 years into the future? You're not even going to need people anymore to do acting. You can just fucking AI generate these cunts. Go and look at deep fakes that we're doing already today, which is just the beginning. Deep fakes are the beginning. Actors, you don't need actors anymore. You can get a computer to generate people. Why would you need an actor if you don't have to pay real people if you can just fucking make them? Now, do you look a bit shit, to be fair? Well, okay, not shit, but in terms of like, you can tell it's not a human. In terms of like fidelity. Give it time, you won't notice the difference between an actual human and a fucking AI human. That's fucking mad. So, what's to say the aliens, I don't know, this whole topic just fucking, it's just so creepy.
Something that could be anywhere between 50 to 1,000 years ahead of us. And for us, I think it's, when you're looking at the observations and these things, how they can outperform, frankly, anything that we have in our inventory, and we're pretty certain anything that our foreign adversaries have in our inventory, then yes, obviously, as human beings, we tend to go down that rabbit hole of speculation. I want to be very careful that I don't offer my opinion in an unqualified manner. I've always stated this is exactly why we need a UAP task force. In fact, this is why we need a much bigger whole of government enduring capability, because at the end of the day, we don't know what we're dealing with. And frankly, all options have to be on the table until they're no longer on the table. I could offer you my opinion right now, but Jackie, in all honesty, it would probably be a bit of disservice, because we frankly don't have enough information yet. We're just now getting to the point as a government, as a society, that we are accepting the reality that this is real, whatever it is. I think.
Oh my days. No comments. My laugh should tell you everything about that fucking Jeb.
A little bit more. And so out of respect to you and your journalistic integrity and that to your audience, I'm probably going to refrain from offering more of my opinion on that particular aspect, only because the one thing I've learned in intelligence is you can be absolutely sure of something and still be absolutely wrong. And I don't want to mislead anybody.
I'm going to be a little bit of a pest here, and I apologize for my desire for a more black and white answer, but in common parlance, I guess, is that something that you would refer to as an alien or a time traveler? Is there any sort of way you could, more specifically characterize this?
Yeah, I've said before, this is something, and I guess I may have just said it again, but that this could be something from outer space, inner space, or frankly the space in between. There's a lot of options out there. This could be something that is extra or hyperdimensional. Now, I don't mean extra dimensional in a woo-woo sense. I mean extra dimensional in a quantum physics sense. We know that the universe is full of shortcuts and loopholes. We know, so if I may backtrack for just a moment, it took the Renaissance to come to the point where we understand Newtonian physics. We understand what gravity looks like. We still don't quite understand what it is yet, but we understand what it looks like.
Exactly. How'd you jump up and down? Gravity. What is it? I don't know. That's actually true. He didn't just make that shit up. Oh, that's literally true. In physics, there's two G's. Small g, big G. If you don't know why, go read the science book. I'm not here to give you science tips.
We understand force equals mass times acceleration and whatnot. So we have these really elegant solutions for our observations of the natural world. And then it took a couple hundred years, but along comes some.
Oh, by the way, little thing for you. Natural actually means order. Just so you know. The natural order of things, it says it twice. It's the order of things. Natural means order, by the way, in case you don't know. So when people say the natural world, and you're just like, okay, what does that word mean? It means orderly. Little linguistics lessons for you there.
Cat with crazy hair we called Einstein, who now introduces the notion of relativity and kind of upends really science and turns it 180 degrees and says, well, actually, there's a thing called space-time, and space and time are actually connected, and they're also stretchable and compressible. And as bizarre as that may be, that is precisely what we're seeing. And so space-time can be warped based upon mass or a lot of energy. And then, of course, 40 some years ago, we really
E equals mc squared. Yay! You can't travel fast in light because you need all the energy in the universe and etc.
really start getting into this whole nother.
Einstein also said that black holes don't exist.
Paradigm of science, and it's quantum physics. And someone once described it as you have this box sitting on the ground, and in walks a dog, and all of a sudden 2 cats walk out. And as crazy as that may seem, that's precisely what we're seeing in these observations with quantum physics, proverbially speaking, of course. So it doesn't make sense, and yet there's this weird duality. Maybe
He's making me want to play Maxwell's Demon, which is one of the most boss things I've ever seen as someone who loves science. Maxwell's Demon. It's very, very, very creepy. In a very good way though. Like if you can look it up on YouTube, Maxwell's Demon, just watch it. By the way, you're the demon in the scenario.
Universe, the speed of light, although may be the universal speed limit, there may be some shortcuts and off ramps.
In fact, I'll play it at the end.
In this understanding of our universe. So we are just now scratching the surface of understanding what type of science it may take to do what we are seeing with these vehicles. There's 5 specific observables associated with these UAPs, unidentified aerial phenomena, that really separate them from the rest of anything that we would consider terrestrial aircraft or manned aircraft or some type of human-based technology. And again, I want to be careful not to go too far out on the limb, because that's where the speculation starts, and that's also where the danger starts, because we simply don't know yet.
Well, and I guess the other key question here is, what do you think the likelihood is that the U.S. government is actually going to?
I would say this he clearly knows about intelligence. He's worked for the fucking intelligence agency. So saying we don't know what it is basically saying give us answers, which is actually a clever move when you think about it. We don't know what they are. We clearly do. But if he keeps saying we don't know, let's find out. You know, it gets all the media to go, yeah, what is that? Because if they don't know what it is, then what is it? You know what I'm saying? Part of the course there.
Confirm anything.
Jackie, I think I lost you, but I'm going to go ahead and try to answer the best I can. I think you were asking me what the likelihood is of the U.S. government going ahead and confirming anything in this 180-day report. So let me see if I can go ahead and answer that. Hopefully that was your question, because I seem to have lost signal. So the 180-day report is, first of all, not substantial enough time to do a comprehensive report. In fact, I've told people it takes longer to remodel a household kitchen sometimes than it does to take 180 to conduct one of these 180-day reports. Secondly, there's the other issue here that we had COVID. and this pandemic that kept a lot of people home for most of that time. And then thirdly, I think if this turns out to be some sort of adversarial technology that has happened to leapfrog ahead of us for the last 70 years, Jackie, we're talking about one of the greatest intelligence failures this country has ever seen, probably eclipsing 9/11 by an order of magnitude.
That wasn't an intelligence failure, ladies and gentlemen.
It took us nearly 3 years to come up with a 9/11 commission's report. If this turns out to be some sort of adversarial technology that did happen to technologically leapfrog us, 180 days, I don't think is going to be sufficient. I think what we can expect the report to say is something like this. There are about 100 and some odd cases out there that are compelling enough that they are definitely displaying some sort of capability, technology that we don't have. Secondly, we don't know what these things are. We have no evidence to suggest that they are from outer space, but at the same time, we have no evidence to suggest that they're not. And so this report will probably be a bit of a placeholder. The one thing we know for sure at this point is that it's not U.S. secret technology. So that takes part of the 30-year argument that this is some sort of secret Air Force, if you will, weapon platform being tested. That's now off the table. And so now we can focus more, I think, on the foreign adversarial perspective, or hopefully maybe something on something, quite frankly, sufficiently different than anything that we had possibly considered before.
And when we're actually talking about this as a national security threat or as a foreign adversarial threat, as you just mentioned, I think we need to talk about China here, which the United States government also views as a national security threat. And China is making big investments at the moment to identify extraterrestrial life as a part of their military mission. There's discussion within the community about whether it's better for us to lead the way with confirmation versus China doing so, and possibly being dishonest about what they found, essentially a new modern day space race. Do you think, in your opinion, does it matter which national takes the lead on confirming the presence of extraterrestrial life, and who gets to the bottom of this answer first?
I think, well, you're right, Jackie. And not only that, they've just announced they've established a new UAP task force similar to ours, and they're using artificial intelligence to do this. We also know that there's a play by them to try to lead this conversation at the United Nations. That, for me, it's a multifaceted question you're asking me. There's two parts of me, and I'm a little bit, I guess you'd say, schizophrenic about the response. There is the national security side of me that has said always, we have these adversaries, these traditional adversaries, and they're going to steal everything they can from us. We don't trust them, try to cooperate, but don't trust them. But then there's the other side, which is the non-governmental side of me that tends to be a little bit more optimistic. And perhaps this is an opportunity for our countries, rather than to find disagreement, maybe to find some sort of common ground. Maybe this may be a new renaissance. Maybe this is an opportunity for our countries to work together on a common good that involves all of humanity.
Independence Day! We're all gonna get anal probed. Oh my god, no. This shit's blowing my fucking mind on so many levels. Oh, it's weird. Oh my god. Yeah, let's work together. Because we're all gonna get probed in the arse. Okay, mate.
Maybe this is like we did in the Cold War, where we started working with the Russians to this era of cooperation, where we start meeting each other in space. I would certainly hope the latter is what happens. I don't know. That's a great question, because what I hope for may be different than what I expect, and that still needs to be reconciled. So I don't know if I answered your question appropriately, but that's how I feel. I would love nothing more than an opportunity to work with our adversaries, our conventional adversaries, Russia, China. Let's get everybody to the table. I believe this is a topic that involves all of humanity. I think it affects all of us equally and yet differently, depending on our philosophical and sociological and theological belief systems. So I guess maybe the kid in me wants this to be an opportunity for us to to work together. But I also have a very realistic side because I've seen what those countries are capable of doing. And, you know, it would have to take a lot of trust for us to do that.
And several of these UFO sightings have been above secret nuclear weapons facilities. Almost every major nuclear power across the globe really has reported and declassified these sightings. You have talked extensively about the connection here, which might be helpful, I think, for some people to hear in advance of my next question, which is whether or not the U.S. government has considered utilizing nuclear-powered naval fleets to lure these kinds of things to further study them.
Wow. So first of all, Jackie, thank you for asking such a thoughtful question. Obviously, you've done some homework. And I also want to, by the way, thank you as a journalist for following this topic, because I know there's a lot of risk involved. And I also know there's been traditionally a lot of stigma and taboo associated with it. So I want to congratulate you for your courage and thank you and your audience for at least having this conversation. But secondly, yes, that is one of the concerns we have from a national security perspective, that there does seem to be some sort of congruency or some sort of intersection between these UAP or UFO sightings and our nuclear technology, whether it's nuclear propulsion, nuclear power and generation, or nuclear weapon systems.
The aliens, like, they found the matches, bro. Hey, you see what the chimps are up to? The ants, even, whatever they want to fucking call us. They just let it for whopper. I mean, these guys don't know what they're doing, do they, really? Me, fucking hell. Are you sure you want to play with them things, chimps, ants, whatever? They're probably just fascinated how stupid we are. They're like, wow, you're. Some of them turn them off, some of them turn them on. I think it's like they're just fucking. I think you know what they're doing, right? They're just sending these things around to just take the piss. To be fair, I reckon they're just taking the piss out of us, like stupid cunts. Like you imagine like aliens doing selfies and shit, watching like fucking. Keeping up with the Kardashians, and like, I love this. Well, she's got nice tits. It's like the aliens probably have good senses of humor, and they don't even care about us. Like I said before, if you can fly around in these mad fucking spaceship looking things, and spaceships, whatever the fuck are, objects, they haven't invaded us. It might be their planet and we're the chimps and we don't even know, like that guy said. Like, what the fuck is going on? We don't know. At least haven't fucking anal probed me yet. I've already been anal probed by a nurse twice. Not as bad as you think, it's a bit ticklish.
Furthermore, those same observations have been seen overseas in other countries. They too have had the same incidents. So that tells us this is a global issue. Now, in this country, we've had incidents where these UAPs have interfered and actually brought offline our nuclear capabilities. And I think to some, they would probably say, well, that's a sign that whatever this is something that is peaceful. But in the same context, we also have data suggesting that in other countries, these things have interfered with their nuclear technology and actually turned them on, put them online. So that.
I just said that. I literally just said that. They're taking the piss. Turn them off, turn them on, turn them off. It's like, yeah, let's fuck with these dumb fucking cunts. I mean, they're actually declassified documents, by the way. That's not even a joke. That's legit real. It's mad, but yeah, it's mad.
Equally, for me, just as concerning. I think that there is certainly at this point enough data to demonstrate there is an interest in our nuclear technology, a potential to even interfere with that nuclear technology. And when you look at all these naval ships out there, let's take the Nimitz battle carrier fleet, for example. In some cases, you're talking about a nuclear footprint probably bigger than most cities. You have a nuclear powered carrier with aircraft on board and then you have nuclear powered destroyers. You have nuclear powered submarines, some of those with nuclear weapons on board or certainly nuclear capabilities. I'll just say that. So I think I think, yeah, it shouldn't be a surprise that maybe there is an increased interest in our capabilities as it relates to our nuclear technology, and the Navy is certainly not immune to that. Yeah, absolutely. And so, I think there's two congruencies that we see. We see an interest in our nuclear capabilities, and then we have this really bizarre, what I don't know if you'd call it an interest, but there seems to be a connection with water. And these things have a tendency to be seen in and around water, which kind of leads to one of the observables that we've had. There's 5 distinct observables that set this technology, as I mentioned earlier, aside from everything we have in our inventory. The first is hypersonic velocity, the ability to change directions instantly. And when I say instantly, I mean human beings can withstand about 9 G forces. Some of our best aircraft can withstand about 16 Gs. These things are doing 300, 400, 600 Gs in mid-flight. Then there's hypersonic velocity.
3 to 4, 600 Gs, you would be splattered. Splat would be the answer to that. Jesus Christ. Which means there's no inertia. Science again, inertia, splat. No inertia. Physics. Fuck my life.
That is speeds that by definition are Mach 5 or above. Very, very fast. We do have some technology. You mentioned Russian hypersonics and things like that. There are technologies that can go that fast, but then again, you don't expect a hypersonic aircraft to do a 90-degree turn. To put that into context, our SR-71 Blackbird went at 3,200 miles.
My favorite plane that I spoke about at the beginning. My favorite plane. Woo, woo, woo. It's a beautiful plane, to be fair. The best plane ever made, ever. Apart from Concorde, that was also dope. First ever supersonic. I was going to say hypersonic. Supersonic plane. And they're going to make a new one, apparently. Some American company is going to make a new Concorde. Apparently. I mean, shit. Won't need it if there's UFOs, though.
An hour wants to take a right-hand turn. It takes roughly half the state of Ohio to do it. You don't expect it to just kind of do this. And that's precisely what we're seeing. And then the third observable is a bit like cloaking. We call it low observability. But the fourth observable is what we were talking about, and that's transmedium travel and water. The ability for an object to fly not only in our atmosphere, low and high altitudes, but also potentially in a vacuum environment like space and even underwater. Now, we do have vehicles that can do that. We have, for example, a seaplane. A seaplane is a plane that can fly and it can float on the water. But when you look at it, it's neither really a very good aircraft or a boat because it's a design compromise. And yet what we are seeing are objects that can operate in all these domains or all these environments.
Force field technology, ladies and gentlemen. I'm thinking what he's saying is that they got force fields or some shit. You'd need a force field, right? Or some bollocks.
Seemingly without any type of performance compromise. And so why are we seeing these things around in and around water is something that we're really kind of scratching our heads with, because we've seen these things. They've been recorded not only in our atmosphere, but there is data to suggest that they have also been tracked by some of our capabilities underwater as well, and being able to perform in ways that frankly exceed anything that we know on the planet right now.
And Lou, unfortunately, we only have time for one more question, but I should make it clear to our viewers that you actually signed an NDA when you were working on this at the Pentagon. Is there any scenario that would cause you to break that NDA if you feel like, for example, this report obfuscates or peddles disinformation about what the findings actually are here?
No, ma'am. I will never violate my non-disclosure agreement with the government. I still maintain a security clearance, and the reason is that not because it's my loyalty to the government, because it's my loyalty to the American people. That contract I signed those many years ago was a promise to the American people that I would never violate their trust, period. And I can't violate their trust in order to gain their trust. It doesn't work that way. So what I'm going to continue to do is doing what I'm doing now and pushing for this disclosure, pushing for the information that I know to be true because I saw it and so did my colleagues, continue to have this conversation the way I can. And I'll tell you, if it looks like the Pentagon continues to obfuscate, I have made it clear before that there's a possibility I would consider running for some sort of congressional office. I don't want to do that. I'm not a politician. I don't have the political savvy. But if I have to put my boots back on in order to make sure this conversation is had and ultimately allow the American people to have this conversation amongst themselves, then I will do what's necessary short of violating my non-disclosure agreement and violating my trust with the American people.
Well, we hope you'll come to us if and when you make that decision to run for office. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Yo, bitch. I run for office. That's brilliant. Very brilliant. I still don't get it though. I don't get the whole alien thing at this point. I don't get it. I mean, everybody knows about the whole alien thing, right? Why now? Why? What? I mean, there's plenty of evidence of weird shit, to be honest. When it comes to aliens, I mean, fucking hell, just go on fucking YouTube, type twat/alien or whatever. You'll find loads of it. But why now? Why all of a sudden it's like, oh, it's fine to talk about it? Like, isn't that a bit creepy? Don't you find it creepy, people? Like, I cover politics, like I said. I literally cover politics. Do you want to see? I was going to show you a trick there. You ever seen a beer can stand on its side? If you drink a beer, well, you can't do it with this big plain one. You can do it with a Coca-Cola can though. But if you drink so much beer, you can literally, on the rim of the beer can, or a said can, I think I've already destroyed it. I don't think it's enough. Yeah, yeah, there's too much. This can's too tall. The weight of the can. Anyway, point being is, you can make a can literally stand on its side with the rim of the can. This is a good party trick to show people because they're like, is that fake? And it's like, no, seriously, you can do it. It's gonna fall on my desk if I even try. Yeah, it's too heavy. Don't know why I'm talking about beer party tricks. Anywho, mad aliens. I was bored. Literally, so I thought, well, there's nothing to do. Aliens are weird, which they are. So I thought, fuck it, I might as well just make a fucking alien video. And to be fair, I wanted to do it on my main channel, but as I said, no. Because fucking question time. But anyway, it's a treat for you if you like science. Like me. Oh god, can I disappear you then? Disappear you, go away. Alright, so watch this and be amazed. And before you watch it though, remember that you're the demon. Max, okay, I'll shut
up. Between them, Jacquard and Morse had found new and novel ways to manipulate, process and transmit information. What had begun with the invention of writing thousands of years ago had culminated in the binding of the entire planet in a lattice of wires carrying highly abstracted information at incredible speeds. For people at the end of the 19th century, it may have seemed that humanity's ability to manipulate and transmit information was at its zenith. They couldn't have been more wrong. Information would reveal itself to be a more important, more fundamental concept than anyone could have imagined. It would soon become apparent that information wasn't just about human communication. It was a much further reaching idea than that. The true nature of information would first be hinted at thanks to a strange problem, one dreamed up by a brilliant Scottish physicist who appeared to be thinking about something else entirely. James Clerk Maxwell was one of the great minds of the 19th century. Among his many interests, Maxwell became fascinated by the science of thermodynamics, the study of heat and motion that had sprung up with the birth of the steam engine. Maxwell was one of the first to understand that heat is really just the motion of molecules. The hotter something is, the faster its molecules are moving. This idea would lead Maxwell to dream up a very bizarre thought experiment in which information played a crucial role. Maxwell theorized that simply by knowing what's going on inside a box full of air, it would be possible to make one half hotter and the other half colder. Think of it like building an oven next to a fridge without using any energy. It sounds crazy, but Maxwell's argument was extremely persuasive. It goes like this. Perched on top of the box, who has such excellent eyesight that he can observe accurately the motion of all the molecules of air inside the box. Now, crucially, he's in control of a partition that divides the box into two halves. Every time he sees a fast-moving molecule approaching the partition from the right-hand side, he opens it up, allowing it through to the left. And every time he sees a slow-moving molecule approaching the partition from the left, he opens it up, allowing the molecule through to the right. Now, you can see what's going to happen. Over time, all the fast-moving hot molecules will accumulate on the left-hand side of the box, and all the slow-moving cold molecules on the right. Crucially, the demon has done this sorting with nothing more than information about the motion of the molecules. Maxwell's demon seemed to say that just by having information about the molecules, you could create order from disorder. This idea flew in the face of 19th century thinking. The science of thermodynamics had shown very clearly that over time, the entropy of the universe, its disorder, would always increase. Things were destined to fall apart. But the demon seemed to suggest that you could put things back together without using any energy at all. Just by using information, you could create order. It would prove to be a fiendishly difficult problem to solve. Not least because the brilliant Maxwell had come up with an idea far, far ahead of its time.
Order from chaos is the fucking point. We live in a very orderly universe and we're very chaotic, don't you think?
It's amazing the impact he had on physics, and that he came up with this very intricate concept, and that he already in some sense anticipated the notion of information that wasn't actually there at that time. There was no such thing.
Like I said, the little demon thing sat on the box, that's you. A lot of scientists don't get the point. But that is definitely you. You do that every day. How do you differentiate between hot and cold? You wonder? It's right there, staring you in the fucking face. Maxwell's demon. That's you.
I think this idea was astonishing. He didn't really have a resolution. He raised it as a concern, and he left it open. And I think what followed is more or less 120 years of extremely exciting debates and developments to try to resolve and address this concern.
So, what was going on with Maxwell's demon? It may sound far-fetched and fanciful, but imagine the possibilities if we could build a machine in the real world that could mimic the actions of the demon. I could use...
We don't need to build a real fucking machine. We are the fucking machine. That's the creepy bit. Maxwell's demon is a reflection of how fucking humans operate anyway. It's just no one's paying fucking any attention, which is quite creepy. I mean, if you've watched this video and you got to the end, and you thought aliens, oh, okay, they're just, oh, Jesus fucking Christ, Jesus.